Hello, my name is Mike Thompson, Royal Roads University Faculty of Management. Today I'm very pleased to welcome James Grieve from the interior of BC, and today we're going to talk about management consulting, the CMC designation, and the journey that James went through when he did his MBA a few years ago. So James, welcome.
Thank you, Mike.
Nice to have you on board, and maybe let's just jump right in and tell us first of all how you found out about the MBA at Royal Roads and what led you to come here to do that program.
Well, I was looking at a lot of different MBA options. I did my Bachelor of Commerce, and I was looking to complement my education with an MBA, but I didn't want just a general MBA. I wanted to leave with some value added with a designation, and I found that the CMC was the Certified Management Consulting designation would be a really nice feather in the cap and something I could build and grow on as time went on. So it really influenced my decision to take the MBA here at Royal Roads.
And the MBA program, you managed to breeze through that pretty smoothly, or was that a challenge?
Well, it was good. I mean, the roots are bitter, but the fruit is sweet, and it was you trust the process and work your way through, and it was a great cohort of people to go through, and a great mix of people in a lot of different industries, which really helped it, and a mature learner group, so it was good.
That's great. And then after finishing the MBA, you then went ahead and acquired your CMC. Can you talk us through that process about the steps that you went through to get that in place?
Absolutely. So the two courses, of course, the underpinning courses for the CMC were taught through Royal Roads, so I had that background, and then it was just getting my work and my feet under me as in consulting. So I leveraged the skills and knowledge I did in my MBA and the courses here, and then did my engagements and had a mentor relationship with a consultant that I met in the program, and that helped me out, and then did my final interviews and became a CMC, and then from there I didn't look back. It was great.
That's great.
Yeah.
So tell us about the firm that you created or that you founded. That was just shortly after your MBA, or was it just beforehand?
Yeah, it was just after.
Okay.
So when I did my capstone thesis here, consulting thesis at Royal Roads, I had an idea, and I vetted the idea while I was here, and then proof of concept in the real world, if you will, and I was specified in working on succession planning for businesses, so it was timely, and it's evolved, and it's a going concern now, and I wouldn't be able to do it and had the credibility and the right to practice without a CMC.
Yeah. And so this is neat because a number of our graduates who have attained the CMC, some have gone into internal consulting opportunities and some have gone out to do external work and have created their own boutique firm, and James is one of those, which is great. So tell us a bit about your firm now, and if you were doing the quick 15-second what I do for a living in the elevator, tell us about the firm and what it does.
Absolutely. Well, the firm is, we're based in the Okanagan, but we have reach throughout Western Canada, and we position businesses for growth and sale. So typically business owners, when they go to sell their business, they go to their accountant, their lawyer, their business broker, friends and family, or they do nothing. Yeah. But what I found was there needed to be a catalyst that brought it all together, which is a consulting role, and that ties the loose ends and then is a reciprocal referral arrangement between those other professional firms. So it adds value for the client, and it also brings value for the other professional associations, ultimately so people can grow and sell their businesses.
That's great.
Yeah.
Really useful niche. So did you found that on your own, or did you partner with anybody at all?
Well, it's a very good question. I started thinking I could do it on my own and quickly realized that high water rises all boats, and I leveraged my connections with CMC and other consultants to find the consultants to shore up areas where my practice weren't as strong. So I had a strong niche towards strategy, but I felt that I needed some help with HR and operations, that type of thing. So I formed a really strong team, and collectively we can really add value for the client.
Okay, so when you go into your website, which is Cascadia...
Well, I have Catalyst Strategies, and Build for Value is the consulting firm that helps business grow. So Build for Value, yes.
Build for Value, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. And then a number of associates are shown on your website. So those are the people that fill in the gaps, I guess, around maybe different niches or functional areas?
Correct, yeah. So when we went to market, we realized we first took a customer first or client first approach and found out what they needed, and what they needed was areas of sales and operations, process, culture, culture and talent. So I associated myself with kind of best of breed consultants in those areas that added value. So you're right. We collectively formed a group, and also it provided more opportunities to reach more potential clients to come into the mix, because we all have our own practices and we all have our own clients, and those clients one day will need succession planning. So it's good.
Great. And then, so in terms of a typical year for you, how do you find the clients? Are they referred to you? Do you have an active business development strategy? How do you land those gigs, those engagements?
That's a good question. The answer is both. So we do have a marketing strategy, of course, on how we fill our funnel, but a lot of the work we do is referral. So I really believe that we're only as good as our last job, and our reputation in the field, and that's why it's important to align with professionals and other certified management consultants. And then we have these reciprocal referral arrangements with other professionals as well, lawyers and accountants and business brokers and that type of thing. So it's a combination of the both, but it's really proved to be quite lucrative.
So can you tell me how you've grown? I mean, have you had a steady trajectory of growth in terms of revenue and clients acquired?
Yeah, we have, and we've done this by always pivoting and tweaking our process. We haven't strayed from our value proposition, but what we've done is found new ways to incorporate technology or people or new market segments and that type of thing. But growth is always is a good challenge, and something we would like to embrace and find out how we can take it to the next level. And
can you talk a bit about how the MBA and the CMC have helped you with your practice?
Oh, 100%. It's provided me with more context to ask the right questions. The CMC definitely has provided a right to practice. So it provides you with a seat at the table. So you're not going to have all the answers, but you're going to have the ability to ask better questions. And when you ask better questions, it gives you more credibility and integrity in the marketplace. So you can, it really helps. And the toolkit that you draw on several years out. So some of the things that you didn't even, resources or contacts within the cohort or people you met or professors, you draw on that information when you're dealing with different clients. So it's been invaluable, and the CMC network is and the resources they provide is great as well.
And in terms of the MBA grads, I think you mentioned in passing that you've stayed in touch with a number of your colleagues, and that network's been helpful to you as well.
Absolutely, yeah. That the MBA cohort that I had was been great, and I also do mentoring work with people coming through now through other cohorts as well. But particularly with my cohort, it was quite fruitful in working with them. I still do business with a lot of them. I'm a client of theirs, or they're a client of mine. So I can't stress enough the importance of talking and meeting with people in your cohort and trusting the process.
So talk us through a typical client engagement. Somebody is referred to you by a CPA or a lawyer. You scope it out. You figure that you might need, say, 2 of your associates to help you with the assignment. You go in there, you do a situation assessment.
Right.
Tell us about that process and about what the outcome is in terms of a report and then what the client does with it.
Yeah, good question. So what we do is we meet with the client, and we have our ideal client, so it has to match what's right for them and what's right for us. And we have a 90-day fairly intensive process that we go through with them and look at all aspects of their business, and then that gives us the foundation to make recommendations. And then from that, we provide the recommendation, and we key in on areas where they may need more assistance. So, for example, it may be getting their processes right, or their performance, or maybe a little bit more planning. And also, one of the things we look at too is what stage of the timeline are they looking to exit their business. So that determines where they'll be with that. But definitely, we have that underpinning, and then we have a system to move it forward. The key thing is, and back to your previous question on what the MBA's provided and consulting, is it's allowed me to understand how to systemize my business so I can take it to the next level. Yeah.
And so do you ever get involved with the implementation? Are you called back to help implement some findings, or do you tend to formulate strategy, do the diagnosis, indicate where corrections, areas need to be resolved and fixed, and then hand the report over and let them fix it? Or is there a follow-on process as well there too for you?
Typically in this type of work, there's a follow-on process. There's no obligation of the client to follow through with that. So it can end at that 90 days and say, here's your report and here's some of the things you may want to consider, so you know where you're ready and when you're ready to exit. But typically the clients come back and say, okay, this is too much for me to handle on my own. I don't have the bandwidth to do it. You've identified, and you and your colleagues have identified, that this is what we need. what's next. So it's typically the what, the so what, and then the now what. So when it cuts to the so what and the now what, we get more involved in the implementation. That's when it really gets fun. We get to see results and tie in their team.
One question that often comes up, with boutique firms, successful firms like yours, are, how do you scale, or can you scale, can you leverage? And I'm wondering, have you given much thought to potential expansion? You've got a good model here that seems to work so well. I mean, do you have any thoughts about that?
I have given it some thought. It's something I definitely like some help with as far as that, and that's draw on other consultants to perhaps look at this and say what are the next steps and what we could do to take it to the next level, because I really believe we have a strong business, and it's just what do we do to take that to the next level.
And often it's the shoemaker's kids, right? If you have somebody independent, objective, working with you who runs a successful boutique firm, that intervention might, I think certainly would give you some good ideas about where you might move forward to, so that could be something to think about, I guess, too.
Yeah, 100%. I'd be absolutely receptive to that as well, to learn more. Yeah, for sure.
But in the meantime, back to the interior, life is good and the practice is working out well. It sounds like you've got what I like about your model, James, is it's very collegial. You're not just on your own working out of your office at home. You've got this connection with other consultancies, you cross-referral, and then you've gone into the professions like the CPAs and the lawyers, the Chamber of Commerce's, and those are, I imagine, fertile ground for finding business as well there too.
Absolutely, and what that, as I mentioned earlier with the CMC, what it does is it provides you with that authority and that credibility that you can, for lack of a better term, bolt on to a financial services firm or a law firm or an accounting firm who they have a roster of clients, but they can provide an additional service, a consulting service, if they have someone they can trust and someone who has a professional designation, such as a CMC, that it provides further integrity and credibility to their firm. Yeah.
Well, this has been a great chat, and we really appreciate you coming by campus and telling the story. It's nice to have grads come back and regale us with their successes. So it's been wonderful having you here, and the very best of luck to you in the future, James.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Okay.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Great.